We're going live with Maoz Inon. Uh, Hi, Maoz.
Yeah, Yuri, good morning.
Good morning. Um, yeah, thank you for joining this conversation. Um, yeah, I think we never meant to. We are connected through different people, but also the fact that I was I'm Israeli. I was born in Israel, and I live in Italy for 14 years now. But I still have a lot of connection. And actually, this is part of the conversation I want to have with you. Um, and yeah, I titled this conversation "Making Hope in Times of Despair." Uh, yeah, I hope to unpack with you something that you said. I think my partner Ilaria follows also a lot of kind of the things that you've been doing and about making hope, that hope is something you make.
Mhm.
And maybe just to add, my concept of despair is very connected with the work that reconnects that I am following of Joanna Macy. And actually, I just heard that she's over 90 and she's sick and kind of in a way in her deathbed right now. So just dedicating it for her and just to everyone that is going through some moment of transition. Um, yeah, maybe you can share more about yourself. But yeah, I'm also maybe what what um, what what hope are you making, and what is the despair, the type of despair that you are living through? If you feel like
Eh,
sharing.
Okay, so first, Yuri, thanks for inviting me to speak to you and in your Substack channel and all the other platform. Um, I was born and raised in Israel. I lived in Israel all my life. I will be 50 in coming September. Uh, on October 7th, I lost both of my parents. They were among the first victims of the Hamas attack. I lost many of my childhood friends, their parents, their children. Some were kidnapped to Gaza. I was born in a kibbutz, a small community just a mile away from the border. Um, my father was born in this kibbutz. My grandparents established and founded it back in 1943. And when I was 14, we moved to even nearest community to the border, Netiva Asara, which is basically on the border of Gaza on the north side. And my parents built their house 200 meters from the what used to be a fence and then become the most invested wall humanity ever built. Um, and I'm living the reality. And the reality for the people in Israel, and definitely those who see us or look to us about what's happening between the river to the Jordan since October 7th, is that we are falling into a abyss, that there is no bottom. We keep falling and falling every morning. Dozens, if not hundreds, of Palestinians are being killed by the IDF. The ongoing annexation, oppression, occupation in the West Bank, just reaching new levels of violence, of again of death, of humiliation. The Palestinian citizens of Israel are being silenced and oppressed. And now this week, the Knesset member Ayman Udeh, the chairman of Hadash, an Arab party in the Knesset, was impeached. And it's going to be next week or a week after, it's going to reach the assembly of the Knesset. Um, so this is the reality. It's the most bloodiest 2 years in a conflict that is been going on for a century. It didn't start on October 7th, the second intifada, the first intifada, 67, 48. It started about a century ago with the establishment and the action of the Zionist national movement and the Palestinian national movement that was rising as a counter national movement in the land, and it's very devastating. We don't see an end. We don't see an end, and this is where in time of despair, it's important than ever to create hope. And this is exactly what we are doing, because like you just opened with, hope is an action. It's not something we can lose, something we will get, or someone else will give us. Hope is an action that we are creating together with others by envisioning a better future and acting in order to make it into reality. It's very difficult to create hope, but at the same time, very simple. I just shared it with you how to create hope in 30 seconds, the recipe for creating hope. So we're creating hope. And at the same time, we're not just creating hope, we are also sowing the seeds of the future. The future is where Israelis and Palestinians meet. We're never going to agree on the past. Two different narratives. We're not going to agree on the present. Two different, and the gap between our narratives is just getting wider and wider. But we must agree on the future. And the future is where our stories meet and where we have a common ground that is based on shared values, equality and dignity, shared acknowledgement and recognition, reconciliation and healing, security and safety. Those are the values. And those are the values that guide us in our work. And I will finish in another example what we are also sowing, and then also what is our mission. I'll start with our mission. Our mission is to make peace between Israel and Palestine by 2030. This is the mission. And in order to achieve this mission, some of us need to practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is maybe one of the strongest power which is in our hand and our control. And I learned it from two Palestinian peace activists, Hamza Awaude and Aziza Boussara, who both lost family members, close family members during the conflict. And they taught me that if we choose forgiveness, we are doing it for ourselves. In order to save us from the destiny, those who harmed us and killed our loved one, choose for us. So if we are acting through anger, through hate, through fear, and through seeking revenge, we are basically slaves. We are slaves to those who harmed us, and they still controlling our life, not just our past. By choosing forgiveness, we're doing it to free ourselves. We are doing it for our own sake. And it doesn't matter if the other side or those who harmed us, they listen, they care, they will change anything in their behavior. We are doing it's a decision that we can take in order to free ourselves. So I decided to choose radical forgiveness. I forgive everyone. I forgive the Hamas for what they have done in October 7th and for killing my parents, but also forgive the Israeli government for betraying and leaving my parents basically to die after promising them so many times security and safety. So with hope, with the values of the future, and with forgiveness, we can focus all our resources in through positive energy in order to building a shared future for Israelis and Palestinians. And that's in the general, more philosophic way of our approach. And then we break it into small acts. And that's I can share some with you, but I'm happy to answer any of your questions or your comments.
Yeah, and thanks. I'm thinking about this. So before we go into maybe more into what can we do, I'm also thinking about this abyss image that you said that we're falling and it doesn't have a bottom. And I was just in a conference of the Annalyn Foundation Forum, and I talk with people, and it's not the first time people know here that I'm Israeli, and then they mostly European, mostly left or activists, they come and they ask me like, why is Israel doing this? They're saying something like this will be for 100 years on Israel, on Jews, like how. And I really sometimes I answer, I don't really know how to answer, like why are we doing this? Um, what is driving this madness? And then how to meet something at the source, and maybe I also add something about forgiveness that I feel also in my experience. I've been a soldier in Gaza 20 years ago. I was in the tunnel team. I lost some friends and saw a lot of destruction. It wasn't so intense as what we're seeing now, but it was pretty intense um, destruction going on. It was kind of the late Second Intifada, and um, Israel was still controlling most of Gaza through colonies and military. So it was for the disengagement. And I realized that I what I also need to forgive is myself. And that's the hardest sort of type of forgiveness, actually. Um, and also imagine a place where I'm forgiven. Uh, and I think it was one of our prime ministers. She wasn't extremely, I think it was Golda Meir that said something. We can forgive the Palestinians for what they did, but we cannot forgive them to what, uh, something like what they made our children do, um, something like that. Um, and I'm just trying to both ask the question, why are we doing it, and what's the part of forgiveness and self-forgiveness in this?
Okay. So you brought some very good topics. So I will try to uh, to answer or to comment on all. Um, First, for me, it doesn't matter why we are doing it. It doesn't matter. And if you go back to history, you can see why in Rwanda there was a genocide between the Hutu and the Tutsi. Why France, who's now with their three values, liberté, fraternité, l'égalité, the nation of France fought and waged war against all nations within Europe. Against all nations within Europe, beside Denmark. No one could explain me why they didn't wage war against Europe. And I don't need to speak about Germany. There is no point in speaking about Italy and about Japan and about the US and other nations. This is part of humanity, to dehumanize the other and to wage war. It's a disease we are bringing upon ourselves. And like probably all, if not most of the nation around the world was for some time in its own history was infected by this disease, the disease of war. And for me, we need to focus not on why we are doing it, but how we solve it, how we cure ourselves. Let's invest in the curing, in the healing, in the reconciliation, and not in the past. And definitely not to argue. Like who started it, who's to blame, who's accountable. We are all accountable. We are all human being creature on planet Earth, and we are all accountable what humanity is doing. And it doesn't matter if it's a genocide that is in the other side of the globe or is happening here where I live. We are all accountable. And so that's about that's about why. I think it's irrelevant because history shows why we keep doing it again and again. This is for the historian. But I want to envision the future, not the history. And what Golda said is exactly, I want to answer it with what Aziz, my Palestinian partner, and I learned from Pope Francis. That humanity and civilization evolves through conflicts. If there is no conflict, it means that there is an oppression and occupation of mind and of physical movement. So we need to embrace the conflict. We need to cherish the conflict, and that we human beings are the only creature that can choose to solve a conflict through dialogue and not through war. And we always can choose the way we're going to react. If a violent was uh, action was made against us, we can choose if we want to be at 10 years old that got a punch in the stomach from a friend in school, so to eat back, or we can choose to count to 10, maybe 100, and to see what we can do. Okay, how can we can choose our reaction that will change the conflict and will bring it to a place where we can evolve and not destroy each other. And what Golda said, this is the Israeli strategy and weakness, that will always choose to answer with violence, with force. And if enough force wasn't able to solve the conflict, we'll use more force. And it's going on, and the cycle of violence, of bloodshed, on fear and hate, just being escalated as the years go by. And I think it's time to say, no, we are not going to answer with violence. We're going to answer with dialogue, with negotiation, with reconciliation. The Israeli security budget in the year of 2023 was the highest ever since the independence of Israel. But on October 7th, 23, the biggest number of Jews were killed since the Holocaust. So security budget is not ensuring security and safety. Even the contrary, the state of Israel is the most dangerous place for Jews to live now. No other place. So many Jews are being killed. Only here. The only way to achieve security and safety is through diplomacy, through compromise, through dialogue, and huge investment in reconciliation and preventing the next war, not to be prepared to the next war. Because when we are being prepared to the next war, it happens. And it's time to prepare ourselves to peace. And then it will happen too.
I like this point about preparing and preventing, and the difference of preparing and preventing war. And yeah, I think, now I'm living in Europe. Europe is also being prepared to work. No war now. The NATO agreement, Trump pushed for all European countries basically to agree to rise into 5% of GDP to war. And yeah, and I think this is crucial, and investing in reconciliation, because also Europe, right now we see Europe as this peaceful place, but we remember how it was 100 years ago, and its potentiality towards war is and destructive power is huge. And yeah, and unfortunately, I think also the globe is like, we can really see how war spreads, like a pandemic, uh, infection, and how, we need to fix it, not in, I think, and maybe that's the second question. And we also have Ilaria here, so if she wants, or someone else wants to ask a question. But I think through the chat, I think, like, what can we do, and also considering that some of us, are, what can we do with where we are, so uh, I live in Europe, someone else is living somewhere else, maybe they're not Israeli, but they feel very connected with that. What can people do concretely that feels, that is making home for you?
Okay. So uh, I will give the long answer, and but I'll try to shorten it. I'm Before October 7th, I was a tourism entrepreneur investing mostly in a shared life for Jews and Arabs within the state of Israel through tourism enterprise. And I won some world. I received really world acknowledgement and recognition for the business I opened. If it was the Fauzi Azar, the first guest house ever in the city of Nazareth, with my American partner and friend David Landis, we established the Jesus Trail. It's an hiking trail in that goes through Jewish, Muslims and Christian communities in the Galilee on the footsteps of Jesus. With other Israeli partners, I started the Abraham Hostel Network, 80, 100, even more rooms, hostels in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Eilat, a tour company, Abraham Tour, that was operating with Palestinian partners, Jordanian partners. Uh, and then I start doing public speaking for entrepreneurs, small business groups, and university students. If it's economic, if it's business, if it's tourism, and then I took together 5 steps that I could fund in all my initiatives. There are only 5 steps that we need to take in order to make a dream into a reality. First, we must dream. Second, we must agree on our shared values, what we're going to base our dream upon. Third, we must create a partnership because no one can fulfill big dreams on his own. The fourth step is to have a roadmap, to know how we're going to reach our dream. What's the roadmap together? And the fifth step is to execute, to start walking the talk and implement the plan. And this is exactly what we have. We are how we're going to achieve peace by 2030. We have a dream. We are sharing our values. I will repeat our values: equality and dignity, sharing acknowledgement and recognition, reconciliation and healing, security and safety. We are building partnership. Uri, I want to be your partner. I want to be your partner with your community, with your network. We must partner together to create a global coalition, global partnership for peace. We are not going to be able to achieve it on our own, just the Israelis and Palestinians, because we are all connected. And the Europe is sending weapons to the government of Israel. Europe, some of the nation in Europe, mostly Germany, is supporting the Israeli government. So without local, a global partnership, we are not going to make it. So this is why I was thrilled that you approached me and asked me to come and speak with you and with your network. And so we are building a coalition that is also got boots on the ground, Israeli Palestinian, but also international. We must have a roadmap and we must implement our roadmap. And our roadmap is also very simple, only 5 chapters. Very simple. I'm trying because there's so much uncertainty, and we think the world is so chaotic, it's so complicated. So we always need to simplify the reality, the reality we see.
Okay, I think Mao's connection got lost, so we'll wait for him. Um, oh, yes. So we also have Ilaria here. If you want to write in the chat, so we wait to Maoz and to come back. And if you have questions that we can bring to the next part. Um, and Maoz was really sharing about the road to peace in 2030 and what we can do I'm trying to remember the notes where it was a dream and have the shared value and arriving into the doing. Um, and maybe it's a question for us as well, like what is the dream and the shared values that we want to work with as Imagine Action, that now we're on an Imagine Action channel, and how we can partner with other people networks. Um, I'm going to see again if I can invite them. Um, okay, so Ilya is asking, it will be interesting to know about the process, how they're dreaming, choosing shared values.
Okay. Sorry, my
Yeah,
phone got overheated.
it's okay, it happens.
I brought
Uh,
ice. I gave him. It's on ice now.
okay, okay. Yeah, I was here, and Ilaria, who is listening, also had a question about. It would be interesting to know about the process, how they are dreaming, choosing shared values. Um, and I think you were talking exactly about that, like about the way forward.
Yeah. So I think I lost you on the roadmap. So the roadmap
Yeah.
is also very. So the first chapter in the roadmap is to dream, and I'm meeting spiritual leader, faith leader, neuroscience, and all says that the only way to change reality is through dreaming. No other way. Dreaming is the superpower of humanity. Okay. Let me. I'm also my. Okay. If you stop seeing me, let me know. So,
Okay.
uh, dreaming is the superpower of humanity, and we, I won't say the liberal, the progressive, the forces of democracy, we stopped dreaming for too long. And we left this most important field of humanity to the extremists. And now it's time for us to position ourselves back in the field of dream. So it's not practical. It's between spiritual and practical. But we must be there. If we won't be there, we're going to lose again and again. So we must dream. Then we must amplify the dream. We have a dream and we need to share it everywhere to speak about our dream in each platform, if it's social media, if it's posters.
Definitely. We lost you again, Maoz. Maybe.
Okay, I need. Okay, the only thing Israeli care about is security and safety.
Mm,
The only thing Israelis, I'm telling in general speaking, don't care about equality, about democracy, about no other values but security and safety. It goes to the first exile, second exile, of course, the Holocaust, Inquisition. It's within our DNA. Only our security and safety. But nowhere in the world security and safety was achieved by military force. Only military force. So we need to legitimize dialogue, reconciliation, negotiation, conflict resolution. And those who believe, I'm saying it to Israelis, I mostly speak to Israelis. If it's high school, gap year program, universities, conferences, those who believe that wall can defend, that bombs will bring quiet, and war will bring security, they've been failing all over throughout history, and mostly with the 100 years of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's never, it's never bringing security and safety. The only way to achieve security and safety is through diplomacy and negotiation and peace treaty, like Israel was able to achieve with two of our greatest enemies, but we already forgot about it. Egypt, which was by far Israel's great enemy ever, and Jordan. So we need to legitimize peace and us as the leaders of the future. And then we need to call for a policy change. In order to achieve security and safety, we need to diverse only 10% of the security budget. It's accurate for Israel, but also for Europe. I think Europe now is facing a very big danger. If we'll invest only in security and think that Russia or I don't know whom is not going to see it as a threat. And when we start seeing ourselves as a threat, we want to eliminate this threat. And if you already have the bombs, you're going to use them. So also, I think Europe is reaching a very dangerous phase. So we need to shift budget and investment from tools of destruction to tools of construction. And it's going not just for Israel, Palestine, it goes to Ukraine, Russia, Europe, Russia, and it's going to Congo, to Sudan, anywhere that there is a conflict. And that all the world is so happy that there is a conflict, and the weapon industry is is thriving, but they are thriving over our blood. And if we think that we are not going to be the one to pay in the future, we are wrong. Everyone will pay, even if they at the moment they work in this weapon industry, it will reach them. It's like fire, like a disease. It will impact everyone. And the last chapter in our roadmap is to create a political will to make peace. Because at the end, there will be a negotiation room. And I know that this end will happen before 2030. There will be and then I can go more detail why before 2030. But there's going to be a negotiation room between Israelis and Palestinians. And we must assure that this negotiation room will be gender equal. That there will be not only politicians, generals, and lawyers in the room, that there will be faith leader. Just a second, I'll close the door. Just a second. Sorry. And that will be faith leader. There will be educator in the room. There will be reconciliation experts. And we need to facilitate this room to happen. And this is now yesterday. Now, after I think 15 years, Israeli Prime Minister said in public the word peace. He didn't for 15 years. I believe that like he is in charge and accountable for the death of maybe 100,000 in the last 2 years, he can also make peace. He can make peace. It can be transformed. We are not sharing values, but we can share interest. His interest is to save his legacy and name, and our interest is to stop the bloodshed. So our interest aligned. And because I practice radical forgiveness, I already forgive them. And then I want to tell, look, if you will choose, if you will be, you will choose redemption and to put arms on the ground to make peace, I will support you, even though you are accountable to the death of my parents. I think he's accountable, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for the future. So we need to create, to empower, and to fulfill the potential in each one of us, if it's a common people like us or someone that can actually bring the death of 1,000, 100,000 of people. We all have the potential to choose peace at the end, from whatever reason it will be. So we need to create this political will, because also now politicians, that's all over the world, they are following the discourse. They are not creating it. They are not changing it. They are following the discourse. So if the discourse, the public opinion will be okay, we had enough of bloodshed, we want quiet and quiet and peace, then it will have no other option but to do it. So this is when we need to create a political will and not to tell, not to dehumanize or or erase or the word will come to me. But I don't care who's going to be make peace. Just doesn't matter as long as he's going to make peace.
Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, yeah. We'll try to keep it short so for your phone to not
I know I
overheat.
brought ice. I see. I literally it's sitting on ice now.
But yeah, I'm thinking well, two things that I'm considering. One is, already an invitation to sort of do this dream circle, do this take this dream forward, and also bringing different actors that I think there's a lot of actors in this situation now that are um, on the fence somehow. And I count myself as someone that is in a way on the fence. And also, again, going back to this despair, I just saw on Facebook another good friend that we worked together with theater when I was in Israel. And she's been always an activist, worked in Shatil and working with initiatives. And she bought this Facebook as of leaving Israel. And I think, kind of losing hope somehow. And I see it, in more people. I, in a way, lost hope already 13 years ago. And I could see, also because maybe I was a soldier in Gaza 20 years ago, I could feel the kind of devastation we are sowing, we were seeding there, the kind of chaos, the kind of, um, and I feel, yeah, the seeds that we plant 20 years ago becomes the trees of tomorrow and the forest. Um, but I also feel like very strongly about like sowing these seeds of peace somehow now and the urgency for that. Um, part of my seed that I shared with some people is my dream is to one day come back to Gaza, not as a soldier, but as a theater person like I am now, and work with the children there and say, I will start like first of all, and I'm sorry that I was your nightmare, and I hope we can play now. Um, and and also the need somehow to bring these different communities that are now the diasporas, all the diasporas, this the diasporas. There's the Palestinian diaspora. There is the Now there's already an Israeli diaspora or Jewish diaspora was before, and they are also stakeholders. And there's also other conflicts, other, migrants and diasporas, and they're all somehow part of this. So I really believe that, how can we bring everyone to the table, also the ones that are currently on the fence, and be with us in this dreaming of the future. Um, and then maybe I will also, that's I think maybe the ingredient that we can bring as a network, Imagine Action, because we work with theater, we work with arts, we have different facilitators, practitioners of social arts. So I think like how to bring that in service of this movement, um, a people's peace movement. There was the summit. So this is sort of the things I'm taking and inviting, also kind of expanding the conversation. I know you're now going to Canada and then taking a vacation, which is very important, but maybe we can continue afterwards with that, and also kind of sowing this dreams of peace, of hope, uh, that are also concrete dreams that can also become more than a wish, but something actionable.
Yeah. So my phone is okay, so I have a few more minutes. I want to reflect about like your friends want to immigrate out of Israel, your activist friend, and you are in Italy now for 30 years. 80 years ago, there was a war. 8 years and 3 months. Still was a war waging in Europe. Okay, and Italy and Germany fought against most of the other nations within Europe. And this war can start again, also in Europe. So, but what the founders of the EU, Italy is one of them, realized that in order to prevent the next war, they must make the enemy of the past into the partners of the future. This is the legacy of the EU. But if the EU won't continue to invest in this legacy, it will fall apart. So there is also a real threat to Europe. It's a real threat. So this is why we all need to work together to build this global coalition for peace and reconciliation. So, and also, I strongly believe in the power of meaning. Meaning is a tool for healing and for cure. And you can find the biggest meaning at time of despair. And it was for Viktor Frankl. Anyone who hasn't read or read once a year his book, A Man Searching for a Meaning, that he wrote his reflection from the death camp during the Holocaust. So no one can take the meaning from us. They can kill a loved one. They can humiliate us. They can torture us. They can do horrible things for us. But the meaning of life is something that is always within us, and we can choose. We can choose to follow it. And the meaning of life for me is not finding happiness. Okay, it's not living till the age of 100. For me, the meaning of life is to pursue peace. And you do it at times of war. You do it through times of war and despair. So this time, for me, the last 2 years, been the most productive, creative, and enlightenment in my entire life. I'm nearly on a daily basis, I'm reaching enlightenment. And I want to follow this enlightenment. And so this is, again, there is a lot of spiritualism, a lot of philosophy within it, and a lot of training and hard work. And hope is also not just an action, it's also like a muscle. After you start practicing it, it's becoming a nature. So I want to give you a few examples how we create hope. Okay, like to give concrete action, concrete example. So exactly a year ago, July 7th, we have done the biggest peace rally that was held in Israel for decades in Tel Aviv. About 40 civil society organizations grouped together to create what become Each Time Coalition. And during the hardest time of the war, we were doing this event. And it's inspired many, many others to initiate their own peace and reconciliation initiatives. And then we created a coalition, and we have a steering committee. We meet once a week. We synchronize. We share knowledge, resources, and ideas together. So we have a very a powerful and thriving peace movement now in Israel. And in last May, we have done even bigger event in the city of Jerusalem, 2-day multi-location event with more than 8,000 people. And hopefully by next week or a few days after, we're going to announce on the second People Peace Summit in May 2026. So we put milestones on the path to peace by 2030. So this is how we create hope, by action, only through action. I shared with you in a word or two, but 20 years ago, I opened the first guest house ever in the old city of Nazareth, the Fauzi Azarin. And the Fauzi Azarin been closed for a year. And the city of Nazareth, the largest Palestinian city within Israel, going through hard time. The municipality collapsed. They are being oppressed and silenced by the police and the Israeli regime. And it's a nightmare. They're living within a nightmare. So next week going to announce that we're going to reopen the Fauzi Azad. But this time, in a new phase, as a retreat center for to promote peace, reconciliation, and acknowledgement. And because we were followed by 50 community members in Nazareth that open hotels, and guest houses, we're going to offer only day activities, and those who will come to our retreat will be able to stay overnight with our neighbors. So this is how we're going to impact the entire community, not just us. So and this is like I called my friends in Nazareth to tell them that we are reopening it. We are not waiting for the war to end. We are reopening it or the government to fall, and they start crying. They start crying. They told me, Maoz, this is the best news we got for so long, that you are reopening Beit Fauzi Azam. So this is how you create hope. Sometimes it's a symbolic action that have a great meaning. And Aziz Abu Sara and I are also writing a book, and that will be published by the most prestigious publishing house in the US, a Crown Publishing House. And it's going to be launched in February 2026. And then we're going to do a tour. Hopefully, we'll find, we already got a French and publisher, but hopefully it will be distributed throughout Europe. And the title is The Future is Peace. We want to share and amplify a dream with as many people as possible. To convince those that are already convinced, but think they are alone. You are not alone. There are so many like you. And we don't need to convince the majority. We need to convince enough people to act together. And then we're going to achieve our goals and fulfill our dreams. So, and I just mentioned a few. There is so many action the civil society in Palestine and Israel are doing on a daily basis. There is a peace march, anti-war activities throughout the country, young and adult, former soldiers to hardcore peacenik that doing peace, reconciliation, and anti-war activities. And we are basically a chain in the link of peacemakers. We are a chain in the link. And our action now, when there is so much dark, even a small candle can create a huge impact. So it's really important because we are putting the foundation for the lasting peace that will come soon.
Beautiful. Yeah, actually, my childhood friend, a guy he used to work in Saudi Arabia.
Ah,
Uh,
say hi, Chagai Posner from Korazin.
yes, yes, yes.
Ah, say hi.
Yeah. Well, now he's in Spain, but we are good friends from childhood, so we're always in
Amazing.
contact. Because I grew up in Corazin as well.
Ah,
So
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, and I love it. My family is in Tivon, actually. My mother and sisters now are living there. And we used to go to Nazareth, and I went once when he was still working and living in the Fauzi in Nazareth. I love this vision, and be happy to collaborate to organize retreats there for
yeah,
people with arts. And Ilaria writes, you have an invitation to come here. So again, we're very interested to organize here in Italy, and also maybe other partners in our network that are very, very global. So there are people in Colombia, India, Europe, US. So it'd be great to support somehow
yeah,
the launch of the book or the summit
yes,
effort. We also have um, let's say some capacity to run workshops online, for going deeper into some of the topics. Although a lot of this work, we need the skin, we need the body. Like, it's difficult to do, but we discovered some ways to do it in some level, and sometimes it's difficult for people to travel. And so it allows people to meet in also across the physical divides that are coming. And yeah, I just again thanking you for this conversation and for your work that you're doing. I think it's essential and yeah, inspiring to me, to others. And I feel I know that there is something on the other side of all of this. And you know uh, hopefully we're seeing in the next days for at least a ceasefire, and potentially in a way the move towards the end of the war. And I doubt that with the current government we're going to have an end of the genocide and the ethnic cleansing. It might be going back to slow action, but that's why it's really important that we people unite and also use this opportunity to not have this becoming another going back to a sort of a low flame, never-ending cycle, and make the real transition into a place of peace and security that can only come through, like what I heard you say, reconciliation and
Hmm.
healing.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, thank you for the invitation and for the partnership. We are just starting, but I'm sure it will last for a long time. Uh, if you can share also, in when you share
Yes,
this talk, Interact website, I will share with you on WhatsApp. Okay, if you can share
yes.
Interact website and my link tree with all my social media network, because sometimes what we need is just for you to amplify our messages. So go on our TED Talk, share it with your friends. Soon we'll again support us with the book. We believe this book can really put a foundation and not for a global peace. This is what we
Mm.
how we write it, to put a foundation for a global peace, not just between Israel and Palestine. So and we are very approachable. Talk to us, offer us ideas. We're gonna be in Italy soon, Sardinia and Sicily in September, and in January, the mayor and bishop of Verona invited Aziz and me to carry the Winter Olympic torch when it goes through Verona. And so we have like really amazing friends all over the world, like Colombia and India and Italy, of course. And when we work together, everything is possible and mostly peace.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Yes, let's partner and let's dream. Let's
Yes.
dream the peace in through
Inshallah.
action.
Yes, let's do it.
And enjoy your trip and vacation. It's also very important to rest,
It's very important. Wow. I cannot wait to be on the plane.
Good. Okay.
Amazing.
Bye. Be safe.
Bye. Ciao.